funding connection.
And Washington, D.C., this is your sixth.
You're not working it up.
We're not going to do the opening. Good morning, everybody. We don't have a camera apparently. Where's my camera? What happened to me? I'm indivisible. Come on, dude. Come on, camera. Where am I? Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy every day. Hi, Yosh. Hi, Marcy. Hey, Libby. Hey, Jojo. Hold on. Let's see what happens. What if I do that? Can I have a camera now? No, I can't have a camera. Oh, there I am. Okay. Oh. The app you're using is set to a different resolution. All right. I don't care. Oh, I got tattoos. Look at how pretty I am. On my neck. I have a nice neck tattoo. I don't even know how that happened, but I love my body tattoos. Let's do this. There, that's better. Can I do that and tattoos? My nose disappears when I do this too. Good morning, everybody. Everybody have a good weekend. This is Spelling COVFEFE. I'm your host, Kevin Williams, Kevinly Father. Oh, look, even the coffee mug goes anime as well. I love it. But then it takes away my animationness. Oh well. Okay, so let's just get right into it. This is Spilling COVFEFE. We just talk. There's no big whoop. If you want to say something, say it in your little chat room, and it'll go up on in the blue over there. We share our thoughts and minds and hearts and feelings, and also gas. So if you have any of that, feel free to deposit it in the chat room. Libby says, I have to get labs drawn at 12:30 and cannot have COVFEFE until after. Stupid timing decision on my part. Yeah. 12:30. You always want to do all those tests. You want to do those first things in the morning. Otherwise, you're hungry all morning long, except JoJo, who doesn't actually eat. So she can do that. Everybody else, go ahead and schedule your test first thing in the morning. Surgeries are good like at 6 a.m., because then you know the doctor just had some coffee. And you can basically sleep your way through it. Not even need anesthesia. If you sleep. Marcy doesn't sleep. So Marcy, whenever you want to have surgery, just schedule away. Libby doesn't care about eating. Libby, you are definitely not me. Because eating is pretty much all I care about. Specifically, ribs. Haven't had ribs in forever. Let's find out what we're outraged by this morning. Let's go to Fox and Friends.
Over the weekend,
I know, working.
Yeah.
I think today is Ainsley's daughter's first day of school.
Good.
Oh, that's cool. Except that kids are going back to school and kids are getting sick. Watched a little bit of the Sunday shows. Oh, we should watch some Sunday shows. Let's find out what we're outraged by.
I know it. So anyway, it's great to have you.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
So Ainsley's missing. I do not mind Ainsley as much as this lady. Because this lady just says outrageously crazy, stupid things. But in a different way than Ainsley does.
To fill in for Ainsley. So.
Right, and then we're still dealing with the legacy of 9/11. If you saw some of those tremendous features, the look back for 20 years seems like 20 minutes ago, but we're still dealing with the legacy of it because of where we are right now, because of what happened. The attacks came from Afghanistan. They were plotted and planned there. The government that was there is now back. They're back and taunting us in every way, shape imaginable, putting their flag above the palace, having ceremonies, and then you had the leader of...
Yeah, God forbid when you control a country that you put up your flag. How is that taunting us? We're out of there. We're done. We've moved on, Brian.
The Al-Qaeda and intelligence experts believe from Afghanistan giving his speech.
Yeah.
Ahmed Zawahiri, the pediatrician, saying, hey, basically we won.
Yeah, because we thought he was dead. The news out of that area was last November he was dead. But nonetheless, our Secretary of State is going to be in the hot seat today and tomorrow down in our nation's capital. Today he's going to sit in front of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Tomorrow the Senate Foreign Affairs Committee. Lawmakers on both sides want to query him about what the administration is doing. Obviously, the Republicans want to let him have it for the chaotic withdrawal. And the Democrats, Rachel, it sounds like what they want to do is they want to say, hey, you can't really blame Joe Biden for 20 years of mismanagement on this war.
Right. They're going to say no matter how you left Afghanistan, it was going to be messy, it was going to be chaotic. And I think a lot of Americans on the left and right, maybe not in the political class, disagree with that. And I think some of the questions, well, let's listen to what...
Well, no. Because that's what happened. And Trump had the opportunity to leave and didn't. Trump had 4 years to get out and didn't. Said that he was going to and didn't.
Representative Michael McCall from Texas says he plans to ask Blinken. He talked about that on Sunday Futures with Maria Bartiromo.
Oh, see, this is the Sunday show we should be watching.
Why did this go so bad? How did he get it so wrong? Why didn't he listen to the intelligence community warnings since April and May of this last year? Instead, they listened.
Those intelligence committee warnings have been happening for years, and then Trump made a deal with the Taliban without the Afghan government. The same Afghan government, he said, had soldiers who had tremendous esprit de corps.
Listen to, Zal Khalilzad, the special envoy, this rosy dream that they were going to somehow negotiate a last-minute deal with the Taliban was absolutely fantasy world. It was like a Yale.
Yeah, no, they should have gone with Trump's deal with the Taliban. The one where he let out 5,000 Talibans who are now in power in Afghanistan. You know, that one. Trump literally released the Taliban leader from jail, the co-founder. He calls him Abdul because he can't remember Baradar. But yeah, he had Abdul Baradar release, the co-founder of the Taliban. Had him released from jail in Pakistan in 2019. The Pakistanis were like, no, I think he's really good right where he is. And Trump's like, no, Tama, I'm not going to pay you any money. You're not going to get any funding until we get out. Okay, and so they released him from jail. And then Trump negotiated a surrender agreement with him. And now Biden's taking all the blame for what Trump did. And in the deal, it should have been enough, speaking of parts of the deal, it should have been enough to say, hey, you guys, will make you a deal. Stop killing us and we'll leave. Yeah? Okay, we're good. That wasn't a good enough deal. The Taliban said, no, we want our prisoners out of jail as well. We want 5,000 of our men out of jail. Trump's like, okay, sure, that sounds good. What's going to happen when you release 5,000 enemies from jail? But remember, we got to be upset about Bo Bergdahl because four terrorists got released. This is 5,000 men compared to 4. And how many of those 5,000 joined ISIS-K? It's a valid question. Those are the hardliners. Believe it or not, Taliban, not the hardliners. It's actually ISIS-K. They're all pretty hardliners.
Faculty lounge rather than, a war on the ground. I want to know why he left American citizens behind. I want to know why
I want to know why those American citizens didn't leave. That's what I want to know. They were being told to leave starting in March, and then April became official. Get out of the country. That's from the embassy and the State Department saying, you need to leave, and we'll help you. Thank you very much. Nope. How come they stayed there? Some of them are still there. There's some Americans probably dealing in the poppy industry who want to stay in Afghanistan. There's some NGOs. There's some priests. There's some pastors. There's some probably members of the CIA. There's plenty of dual citizens. Not according to the states, by the way. The Americans don't recognize dual citizenry, but all the other countries do.
Who put their lives on the lines and fought with our special.
Did he say put their lives on the lines?
Yale faculty lounge rather than, a war on the ground.
Yeah, look at all these smart people. They're like they're like academics. They're like teachers, people who are really smart at Yale. It's really, there's a lot of making fun of people for being better than you are. I don't get it.
I want to know why he left American citizens behind. I want to know why our interpreters who put their lives on the lines.
Yeah, who put their lives on the line. So the interpreters are yelling? Good.
And fought with our special forces.
Why would we bring anybody over here that fought with our special force? This guy has difficulty with the words.
Why were they left behind?
I think some people want to know why.
Yes, that is actually a very good question. Why didn't Biden immediately get going with the special immigrants visas? Why did Trump, better question, why did Trump just stop the process back in March of 2020? Yeah, we're just not going to do any because Stephen Miller says, that's why, Stephen Miller. But yeah,
Tony Blinken was in the Hamptons when Kabul fell. But they want to know about
miscalculation.
Yeah, exactly. They want to know about the vetting. They want to know how many Americans.
Yeah, Trump didn't think it would fall either. That $85 billion in weaponry and vehicles, etc., helicopters, Apache, more helicopters than Australia has. All of that came from Trump during his 4 years in office. Not all of it. There might have been a little bit before him, but yeah, he poured $216 billion into Afghanistan. Remember how he rebuilt our military? He rebuilt theirs as well.
We're stranded. They want to know why we're calling.
Why? Because their military had tremendous esprit de corps.
The Taliban are partners and taking orders from them. They want to know why we would give up Bagram Air Base, which is clearly not just strategic for the exit, but strategic.
No, because we didn't want to have a presence in Afghanistan forever. That gives the terrorists one target in the entire country, just the Air Force Base. And it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's outside the city, by the way. Anywhere between an hour and a half and 3 hours, depending on traffic in Afghanistan. The roads are terrible. But yeah, our men just become sitting ducks at that point.
Just for us to have in the Middle East.
And our women, excuse me.
So close to China, et cetera.
The good news is that China is in negotiations reportedly to take over Bagram Air Base.
Is a female duck a hen? Does anybody know? Is there a difference between do we call them all ducks like cows? But there's bulls and there's cows, cattle. Do we do that with ducks? There's geese and gander. I think there is, isn't there? Somebody check this out. There's ducklings. We know that. I recall now a Steve Bannon podcast episode where they had on Peter Navarro, who is an economist, claimed that Lancet magazine was an economist magazine. It's not. It's a medical journal. By the way, Lancet just came out and said this is more important than any of that. Anyway, I'll finish that story. Speaking of which, so he claimed that the doctors involved in all of the COVID, etc., that they were bad because one of them called, he said they called young bats, he called them puppies, like they were dogs. And that's why he's like, he collected all these bats. He even called them puppies. So baby bats are called pups, just like dogs. That's what they're called. Bats are mammals. But that's what you call a baby bat, is a pup. But he got... sorry about your daughter, Libby, says Jojo. I am too. I'm not even sure why, but I'm just sorry about her. Female ducks are called hens. Okay, that's what I said, right? Was I correct about that? Boy duck, drakes! That's right. Drakes. I knew they were something different. So they're all ducks. And then you have, the judges are not in yet, by the way. It's too early on a Monday for the judges to be here. So you've got drakes and hens in the duck family. And then there's the younger ducks Baby ducks are called Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
With all our sophisticated sensors and all our equipment, we left it full of terrorists. So when we left it at midnight without telling the Afghans, because they said we couldn't trust the Afghans, you left it full of our equipment, our intelligence.
No, they shut everything down, by the way. They shut everything down and destroyed it, and they turned off the electricity. That's what happened at Bagram Air Base. Yes, there was intelligence saying, don't trust the Afghan army. So, yes. That's what happened. Because we couldn't trust the Afghan army. You know, the same army that folded like a deck of cards. It should be collapsed like a deck of cards. You don't fold a deck of cards.
And the people that wanted to kill our Afghan...
Yes, male ducks are singers.
And allies, and of course us. So they're now out, and they might even be in power right now. I think it's also important to point out...
What? What is he saying? I don't even care. We're not going to go back. This is Monday. We got to move on.
They left without any plan for counter-terror activities. Al-Qaeda's back. ISIS is there.
Folded like deck chairs. Thank you, Jane. I'll take it. Judges? Not awake yet, sorry. But if the judges were here, they'd give you a bell ding on that one.
The Taliban's in charge. Connie Network's got high-ranking positions. And we have no plan for counter-terrorist efforts. And then we did find out...
Yeah, we do. The Taliban are going to take care of the terrorists. The Taliban are going to rid us of ISIS-K. You know, the ones who just killed the 13 soldiers. Remember? That ISIS-K? Sorry, ISIS-X in your world. In Earth 2. That's what they're called. By Trump, twice. You know, the guy who's going to replace the guy going to be reinstated to get rid of the president who doesn't know where he is? That's the guy that called them ISIS-X twice. But he refuses to wear his readers, by the way. There's very few pictures of Trump wearing his readers. All kinds of pictures with the readers on the desk. But here he is. He's always I don't have anything to read. Oh, yeah, I do. This is a script. Don't publish it, okay? He's always reading things like at the end of the arm's reach. Like that. That's Trump. Without his readers on. When his readers are sitting on the desk. There's many, many pictures like it. Prototypical Trump. The things that are going to help you actually read what's on the paper, sitting on the desk in front of you, but you absolutely will not be seen with them. Sign of weakness.
On top of that, according to the New York Times and Washington Post, the people we killed on the way out were actually allied with us, and the bombs they evidently were putting in their trunk were water canisters.
Yeah, that was despicable.
And 12 kids.
Yeah, we were on the air when that explosion happened, and we actually thought, Pete, Will and
I see. So trust the intelligence sources, but don't trust the intelligence sources. Got it. War is so easy. We should put Brian in charge.
I thought, okay, well, maybe they're doing something good finally. Maybe they're, and it turns out we got our own guys. It's very disturbing. And the other question I think that should come up and will come up is certainly if Representative Waltz and others are able to ask questions is going to be what's going to happen with these resistance fighters. Are they finished? Are we helping them at all? Are we going to just, work with the Taliban as if they're this, new respectable nation state?
Right, and that's one of the things the Republicans plan to point out to Tony.
Well, not respectable, but work with the Taliban the same way we worked with the Taliban before. But remember, Trump signed a deal with the Taliban that released 5,000 of their prisoners, and they were going to handle the terrorists. The same terrorists who just killed a bunch of us. Those guys. Signed a deal. No, he didn't sign it. Pompeo signed it.
Blinken, it's like, hey, the people you're trusting in the Taliban, half of them are on America's Most Wanted list by the FBI. Come on.
Yeah, the ones Trump released from jail. Yeah, come on, Blinken. This is your fault.
You got to be kidding me. Meanwhile, the Wall Street...
Oh, by the way, so we know for sure that members of ISIS-K were in jail and then were released by the Taliban, the same Taliban that Trump released from jail. So we don't even need to postulate there.
The Journal puts out essentially a line of attack on the administration by talking about The thousands of people who have been allied with us over the last 20 years, they're stranded there. I know the White House doesn't like to use the word stranded. They're stranded there. Yeah. They've got a headline in the Wall Street Journal on the op-ed page that says, those still left behind in Afghanistan, the U.S. isn't doing nearly enough to free those who are trapped. They go on to...
You know what we should do? We should invade Afghanistan, take over that country, and then get everybody out. That would work really well.
Say that there are thousands of SIVs, or special immigrant visa people, who should have been evacuated to a secure location. And they say the White House needs to tell, not ask the Taliban. And whoever wants to leave,
whomever,
can do so at America's invitation. The Biden administration wants nothing more than to wash...
I don't know, could be whoever, too, either one. Colloquialism has taken over the English language, so yeah, whatever.
Its hand of the debacle in Afghanistan, and it has a political incentive to play down or obfuscate the number of trapped Afghans eligible to come to America. But the world shouldn't forget that thousands of would-be Americans, men, women, and children, face arrest, torture, or death because of the White House rush to the Afghan exit.
Oh, now we're worried about would-be Americans. All right. I know there's no object of prepositions there at random. I'm being nitpicky with the Wall Street Journal.
So in other words,
by the way, I now subscribe to the Wall Street Journal again because I got another $1 a week offer or something like that. I canceled my subscription after they said they published the opinion piece saying that Dr. Jill Biden is not a real doctor because she's a teacher, so not a real doctor. Ladies can't be doctors.
Mr. President, figure a way to negotiate with the Taliban, if that's what you're going to do, but convince them that every person who wants to get out can get out.
Yeah, forget about reasoning with them. Also, there was a report in Axios that...
Really? Let's forget about reasoning with the people that Trump signed the deal with? Where were you people last February? By the way, they were praising President Trump last February. It was March by the time that the deal became sort of public knowledge. And everybody was all like, oh my God, COVID, COVID, COVID. Actually, it was coronavirus at the time. We didn't call it COVID yet. But it was, corona, Wuhan flu, etc. That was the news a year and a half ago now. But they very, very little attention. But when they did talk about Trump, they praised him for having a peace deal with Afghanistan. Let's go look that up, actually. Let's see if we can find it. Hold on. Let's see. Fox and Friends. Trump deal with Afghanistan. And if that's 2021. How do I filter this? Let's go to Tools. Anytime. Custom range. So we'll go from February 2020, February 27th to March 7th. Lindsey Graham on U.S. Taliban, that's Fox News. Fox News. That's the New York Times, but I wanted Fox and Friends. I wanted to see, well, let's go to videos. President Trump, disgraceful deal with the Taliban. That's by somebody else. David French. U.S. Taliban signed deal. This is CBS News. Trump says Taliban, and he had a good talk. This is March 3rd. Oh, I think this is where he talks about the Taliban leader. This is where he started the whole grunting thing. March 5th, town hall with President Trump. I don't remember that. Interesting. Let's watch a Taliban leader had a good talk. And the video's unavailable. Super. Hold on. Let's go to the town hall.
A big part of our mission is to create a space in which culture can be shared. You talked this week to the leader of the Taliban.
I did.
And you said it was a good conversation in which you said you both didn't want violence. However, on that same day, the Taliban launched some 50 attacks in Afghanistan, 40 of them in one province. There are many Americans really wondering, and the U.S. struck back against the Taliban. There are many Americans
very powerful,
wondering where the peace part of the peace plan is, and can you trust the Taliban?
So these are warriors. We've been there for 20 years. We're really serving more as a law enforcement group than a military group. We could win that war very easily, but I don't feel like killing millions of people in order to do it. We don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that. People are tired. Even the biggest hawks are tired of being there. I had a very good conversation with him. There was a group that formed. And again, you know, they have many tribes and they have many different. It's hard for one.
There was a group that formed. It's called the Taliban. And they formed because you got the co-founder out of jail?
It's not like perfectly one control. I spoke to a certain man who is the leader, but the leader has not, it's not the easiest leadership position.
Structure.
And the structure is, you know, tribes all over the place. A tribe formed and a group formed that was going to attack certain soldiers, Afghan soldiers, and the military heard about it, and the military went and they took them out. That was it. I believe they really want to make a deal. I think after 19, actually going very close to 20 years, they're also tired of fighting, believe it or not. But they are warriors and they are fighters. And
I thought they'd been fighting for thousands of years. I thought that's what they do. Just like you go to Broadway, they fight. That's what he said to Gutfeld last week.
that's what they've done for 1,000 years, you know.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Ask the Soviet Union, which became Russia, because of Afghanistan. You know, it's a tough place.
You have said that you want to.
Oh, I remember this town hall. Yeah, this is right by the way. This is right at the beginning of coronavirus here. This is what's the date on this? March 5th. So this is March 5th, and this is a super spreader event.
End this. It's gone on for a long time. But what about the conditions on the ground? Because, General Mattis had a disagreement with you about pulling troops out of Syria and Afghanistan. If your generals tell you...
I was so right.
If the generals say to you, Mr. President, we need more people, not fewer people right now, what will you do?
Well, Mattis said that, and I gave him more people for a short period of time, and it didn't work out. And
But
what
now
we were
with
doing is policing on Afghanistan. As far as Syria, I did pull them out. I pulled them out. We were securing the border between Turkey and Syria. I said, why are we doing that? Turkey's big, Syria's fine. Let them fight their own battles. What are we doing with our soldiers? Getting people killed to secure. Now, the one thing, when I came in, ISIS was all over Syria, all over Iraq, and we don't want them coming to us. And it was a mess. You understand that very well. And I knocked out 100% of the territorial caliphate, 100%. We knocked the whole thing out.
But what about Afghanistan?
No, but just so you understand. So we knocked out the ISIS caliphate in vast amounts of the Middle East. And I did that fairly quickly. When I came, again, President Obama, it was all over the place. When I say we're not doing the borders, we did leave soldiers. We left soldiers because I kept the oil. And I was always against Iraq, going into Iraq. I think it was one of the worst, maybe the worst decision ever made. But I used to say, once they were in there, keep the oil. They never kept the oil. We have an oil area near Syria and in Syria. We kept it. So the only soldiers I have over there, they're guarding the oil. We kept the oil, so we kept the treasure. That's okay.
But if it takes more troops to keep the Taliban from taking over Afghanistan, is that something you would be willing to do or no?
Well, there's a big question about the government of Afghanistan. There's a big question about that whole situation in Afghanistan. We're getting along very well with everybody. We have to get our people back home. It's not fair. We're a police force over there. We're maintaining things. Eventually, we have to leave. We don't want to stay there for another 20 years. We don't want to stay there for 100 years. We want our people to come back home.
All right. Lynette has our next question from the audience about division, really, in politics. Lynette?
Oh,
Where are you?
sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Hi, Lynette.
Hi, President Trump. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
From the day you came down the escalator in Trump Towers, I was on the Trump.
Okay, so there he is, obviously deflecting. What about the question is asked? What about ISIS in Afghanistan? No. We're talking about the caliphate. We didn't want to talk about it. And there are some questions about the Afghan government. Yeah, you can't keep people. You can't keep the oil. No oil was kept. You don't keep the treasure. You don't invade a country and keep the treasure. This segment in the Twitter chat, Kevin, can you send a link to this segment? Meaning this Fox News thing here. I'll just put it up in the YouTube chat room too. Hold on. This is this is on YouTube. This is the Trump town hall, and I think I just copied it here. I'll put it there, and then I'll dump it over in the Twitter message thing there. Here we go. There you go. You can watch the whole thing itself. But I mean, Trump has been wrong since the beginning, but we knew that. It's almost time to wrap this up, kids. Let's get on with our day after I think we spilled enough COVFEFE. But before we get on with anything, anybody else want to say anything before we leave and then get about with our day? Lindsey Graham is coming up on this. Is there going to be anybody at a diner? That's what I really care about because I like the diners. Who's this guy? Thinking about it, but doesn't want to play.
Seriously.
Yeah. Sadly, I think a lot of people.
World Health Organization advisor. Okay. So we're blaming China. Then we're talking about the California recall. And then who's that? That's is that DeSantis?
Or whatever. People, Americans, don't like being told what to do. They care about their freedom.
You're absolutely right, Rachel, and he has miscalculated big time, especially down here in the South where I live. People do not like to be coerced, manipulated.
Coerced. People do not like to live. People do not like being told to stay out of the hospital. People do not like being told by the scientists that this is how disease works, and we should do better with the disease. People prefer just to get sick and die, and that's the American freedoms. What is happening here? Here we go.
Doctor, Admiral, Member of Congress, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Thank y'all.
That's Ronnie Jackson, by the way. This is the same guy who said Trump was like 175 pounds. So he's crazy. He's nuts. He still has his medical degree. So we might watch him later. We'll see if there's anybody else later on that might be of interest in. Lindsey Graham speaks at some point, but honestly, like Lindsey Graham just seems irrelevant at this point. The thing is, though, he's more relevant than Trump right now. Trump, I guess, did his pay-per-view boxing thing over the weekend. I saw someone say it was like 81 seconds worth of analysis, and there's no analysis for Trump. You know, well, they're very tough. They're very tough men. Both of them certainly hitting well, but I'd have to say if I had to take a guess, it could be one of them, and it also could be the other one. So we'll find out in a very short period of time. It's all nonsense. Yay, the auditions are already coming in on a Monday morning. So, guys, be good to each other, be good to yourselves, and be good to me. We'll talk to you later on today, probably. Bye.